Welcome to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and it's time to make some pumpkin pie cookies.
Grab a plate, 'cause it's the all-free whole food plant-based cooking show.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Fall is here, and you know what that means? That means everything pumpkin. So today we're making pumpkin pie cookies. So we also have a pumpkin pie recipe, which I'll give you the link in the details below, along with the printable version of this recipe. So check it out. But the first thing you want to do is to bake your pumpkin. And if you can see here, it's already baked, but this is a pumpkin pie pumpkin, not the big monster pumpkins that you see that people usually decorate with. These are little round pumpkin pie pumpkins. They're a little bit brighter color. The flesh is a little bit more tasty. The big ones, just if you bake them, the flesh is really watery. So don't bake with those. Go ahead and get yourself one of these little guys. I already prepped this one, so I put it in the oven for 35 minutes. I cleaned it out, got the seeds out, and then baked it for 35 minutes on 400 degrees. And then I waited for it to cool so we can scoop that out. So that's what you're gonna have to do first before you make this. An alternate version is you can always just use the canned pumpkin pulp or puree that's in the can. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grind our oats. So this is 2 cups of rolled oats that we're gonna make into flour. So I'm just gonna grind it here in my NutriBullet just for a few seconds. Okay, there we go. That makes the perfect flour. So if you're ever making some of my recipes that are baked, I always use oat flour. I never buy oat flour. I just grind oats because they're so affordable. It's so quick and easy to do. So we're gonna set this aside because we're gonna use that for our wet ingredients too. We're gonna add a half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1½ teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. And if you can't find pumpkin pie spice, there's a million recipes online of the mixtures. It's like cinnamon, clove, nutmeg. I can't even remember what else goes in there, but it's really easy to find that. Okay, so we're just gonna stir this up with our whisk just to make sure that there's no clumps of baking soda or baking powder in there, because that will just end up as the teeny little white clumps in your cookies. And we want a nice, consistent, orange colored cookie. There we go. All right, so now we're gonna do our wet ingredients using our NutriBullet thing here. We're gonna scoop out 1 cup of the pumpkin flesh. See how nice and soft that is? It's such an amazing, amazing vegetable. With all that orange color, that's all that beta carotene. So we're making cookies with vegetable pulp. Super healthy. All right, there we go. Put that in our blender. There we go. And I'm gonna set this aside. I'm just gonna put it in a container, a Tupperware, and put it in the refrigerator for the next batch. Then I have 1.5 cups of soy milk, and this is unsweetened soy milk, but you can use whatever plant milk you like. I would just stress that it's unsweetened because we're gonna sweeten with dates. And this is 1 cup of pitted dates. And I usually use Deglette dates, and you can find them in the grocery store, usually with the raisins. They're a bit more affordable than medjool dates that are usually in the produce section. All right, then we're just gonna grind this until all of those dates are just completely pulverized. Okay, there we go. Now we're just gonna mix these together. And I already have my oven preheated to 350 degrees so that once we get these cookies onto the cookie sheet, we can just pop them right in. Okay. You want to make sure you mix this well, just like with when we whisked our dry ingredients, so that you don't get any flour clumps in there. You want it really nice and smooth. Okay, I'm going to clear some of these things out of the way. I'm going to get my cookie sheet, and then I'll show you how we're going to get them onto the cookie sheet. Today's show is brought to you in part by Herbal Face Food. I've searched for years to find a safe, non-toxic, vegan skin serum, but I've been so disappointed by the products I found that I eventually tried making my own, piecing together various essential oils and extracts. Then I received some samples from Herbal Face Food, and I've been truly blown away. The Herbal Face Food Serum is the most potent anti-aging, multi-correction, antiviral skincare product on the market and contains over 50 wild-harvested organic botanicals with no fillers, artificial chemicals, or preservatives. None. That's why I now use it every day as the center of my skincare regimen, and I happily recommend it here on the show. As an exclusive discount for our viewers, just use the code PLANTBASEDEASY at checkout to save 20% off your order. Alright, so we're set up here. I've got a cookie sheet with a piece of parchment lined, and I've got another NutriBullet container here with a piping bag. This is a cool little trick I'll show you in just a second. But I forgot to add the vanilla. I have a teaspoon of vanilla extract to the batter that I forgot to add into there. So I'm going to mix it in real quick. Okay. Now, this just, because it's a, you can see it's kind of a creamy batter. It's not like a cookie dough batter where you would just scoop it onto your cookie sheet. As you see, it's just pouring out. It's more like a quick bread batter. So using a piping bag just makes it a little bit easier, and you can make a nicer shape of cookie. So I'm just getting this in here, and I put it in the NutriBullet container like that because it's really difficult to hold a piping bag and pour this batter in it without having 4 arms or 4 hands. So this just makes it way easier, and it keeps it pretty clean. All right, so this part might get a little messy because it's going to be very, very full, and it's already oozing out the bottom. All right, here we go. So you're just doing like that. You can go in a circle, whatever you want to do, whatever's easiest for you. So we're just going to keep going, and you can make them whatever size you want. If you like smaller little cookies, just make them smaller. But once you eat one of these guys, you'll probably want to have a little bit bigger size of cookie because they are incredibly delicious. All right, I'm going to finish putting these out on the pan, and then we'll get them into the oven for 15 minutes. While we're waiting for that, I'd like to share some background on our show. The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show is crowd-funded, which means these free weekly recipe videos, along with our entire catalog of free printable recipes on our website, plantbasedcookingshow.com, and our Plant-Based Cooking Made Easy cookbook series, are all made possible in part by the generous patronage of our supporting membership community. Our supporting members gain access to great member perks like our monthly product giveaways, ebooks, and in-depth courses, including our 28 Days Plant-Based Made Easy course, where we offer a step-by-step guide to making the switch to a fully plant-based diet. So if you love our recipes, I invite you to join us on our mission to make plant-based cooking easy, and follow the link in the description to become a supporting member today. Okay, let's get back to the show. So while our cookies are still baking, we're gonna make the magical frosting, or like the whipped cream that would go on top of a pumpkin pie. This is my version. So that is 1 cup of cashews, and if you don't have cashews, you could also use almonds. 1/3 of a cup of water, 1/3 of a cup of dates, a tablespoon of lemon juice, and a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And this takes a little bit of patience because you want it to be super smooth and silky. But if you mix too much liquid in there, it'll be too watery and then it will just ooze all over your cookies. So you might have to blend, scrape the sides down, blend and blend and blend several times, but it's so worth it. And if you really just can't get it to mix down much more, you can add, I would just add maybe a teaspoon of water at a time. So I'm going to try a little bit of water just to help it get moving again. Okay, there we go. Wow. You need to come in here and take a look at that. Okay, so we're gonna let this sit and thicken up while these are still in the oven, and then I'm gonna take them out and let them cool for about 10 to 15 minutes because you don't wanna frost them when they're hot because this will just melt all over the place. So let's wait for those cookies to get done. They are out of the oven, so come on in and take a look. The smell is amazing. It definitely smells like pumpkin pie. So I'm gonna take these off of the cookie sheet here and put them on a cooling rack. And I'm doing that just so that while they're cooling, the bottoms don't get any moisture. They tend to kind of start releasing moisture if they're sitting on this really hot pan. So I'm gonna get them all onto here, and then I'll grab our frosting and I'll meet you down at the table for a taste. Okay, let's frost one of these guys. Ah, it smells so good. And these are so soft and fluffy. Put on some of our beautiful whipped cream frosting. Oh my goodness. Here we go. That tastes so much like pumpkin pie. I just can't wrap my head around it. How a cookie can taste like a pumpkin pie. You are gonna love it. Be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and come on back next week for another great recipe.